Shalom. This is Awake Israel Ministries. We do thank and praise the Most High, Ahayah, bahashem, Yashayah, Kadash. That's the Most High, Christ, and the Holy Spirit, for this opportunity to be on again in front of you today. We do thank the Most High for this opportunity always to bring the truth to the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be tuning in, whether here or abroad. We do thank the Most High for this opportunity. We've been in the midst of a series of lessons titled Basic Bible Knowledge. The purpose of these lessons, these lessons, and I made a playlist with these lessons. You can find this on our YouTube website, Awake Israel Ministries, is to give you basic scriptures, very easy to understand scriptures on various subjects such as the virgin birth, the time or the day that Christ rose from the dead, now when you listen to these subjects and the way we break it down, you may see it as different from the paradigm of teaching that you have received, mainly if you're a churchgoer. You have not been made aware of certain things that you may hear from us, and they may sound like they're false or hard to understand, because when you're in let's say it like this, when people have a certain conditioning system that they have grown used to over years and decades, it's hard to conceive a different way of looking at, especially looking at things like the Bible. And
all praises.
So, especially dealing with the topics like I aforementioned that we deal with on our channel, and the last couple lessons we've been bringing about, like for example, the topic of Christ's resurrection and the time of the week that he died. Now there's many theories and reasons why that the modern world has Christ's death on what they would refer to as Good Friday.
Sure. Tell him, Josh.
I don't have to go into all those, how we know.
Okay, I'll be right out.
I don't have to go into all those various other reasons why we know that Christ did not die on Friday.
Hey.
Why Christ did not resurrect on a Friday. As a matter of fact, Daniel 9:27 explicitly tells us that the Messiah would renew the covenant and do away with the sacrificial system, and that he would be cut off in the midst of the week. Jonah 1:17 tells us that Jonah would be in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Matthew 12 verse 40 tells us that no sign would this generation be given but the sign of Jonah. For as Jonah was in the whale's belly for 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the Son of Man be in the belly of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. And Matthew 1:20, Matthew 20 verse 1 tells us that as it began to dawn at the end of the Sabbath, or as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week. So the Bible tells us that it wasn't even Sunday yet when the apostles, when the women came to the tomb and were there looking for the resurrected Savior. Now, we understand that the whole earth has been given a false day of worship to go to what they call church, which is Sunday. Okay? Now, we know that we know that the Bible teaches us that Christ was already out of the tomb on Sunday, and not the apostles, the women came to the tomb before Sunday was even the day had even started, or okay. Before Sunday had even began, Christ was already out of the tomb the day before that, which perfectly coincides with Daniel 9:27. Christ would be cut off, that he would be cut off in the midst of the week, referring to when he died in the middle of the week, which would have been what we know today as Wednesday. Okay? Now, and that also goes into other things like Easter, and which is actually Passover. But see, that goes into a whole nother subject that tonight's not about. I want to deal with tonight. It's a subject we mention a lot, but I want to try to touch on as much information. This lesson is going to be more dealing with prophecy and more factual information. So this lesson, I hope this will edify and inform and teach you something. I have a book in front of me called Hebrews to Negroes by Ronald Dalton Jr. I want to read some information here, and then I want to go in to the scriptures here. The Most High allow. Okay, so this is chapter 11. Genesis 9:27 reads, and God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. The curse of Canaan has always been used to justify the punishment and enslavement of blacks. Now, if you've never heard that, this is a philosophy or doctrine that goes, black people were enslaved because they are cursed, or they're cursed sons of Ham or African. Well, we know that not to be the fact. Excuse me. This is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. This is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, and this is the definition of Ham. The Zondervan, again, this is a very good scholastic source for you to learn a lot of good information and definitions of things, words in the Bible. Very good scholarly source here. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably 96 years before the flood, and was one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. He became the progenitor of the dark races. Now, aren't Negroes dark? Yes, but they're not Hamitic or African. Okay? Not the Negroes, but the Egyptians. That's the Ethiopians, the Libyans and Canaanites, and Cush and Canaan. Right there, everybody. So the Negroes are not African. That's a lie. They're not American. That's another lie. Okay, back to the book. So we have just proven scholastically that the Negroes are not African nor American. And I'm going to go into the Bible just in a second and show you some clear. And there's also been a link to the reason why people of African descent have brown or black skin. But to understand the scripture, we must realize that all of Japheth's descendants are labeled Gentiles in the Bible. Genesis 10, 2 through 5. We also need to know that all white Europeans and Arabs come from the came from the northern Japhetic lands: Italy, Rome, Greece, Belgium, Spain, France, Portugal, Britain, Khazar, Turkish Arabs, whose descendants linked to the Middle East and North Africa. American, Russia, and Persia are Slavic nations who had all their origins from the north. The secret of, okay, so basically the Africans or now I don't believe, now white people or Europeans are not Japhetic. Now the original Europeans were Japhetic. Now when I say original, white people are not original to any lands we possess, or looked at as the majority in. Okay. Actually, I'll come right back to this. I'm about to read a little more. I just want to go into a Bible scripture right fast to prove what I just said. Let's go to the book of Genesis.
Genesis
10. Wrong. I clicked on the wrong one. Genesis chapter 27. Genesis 27, verse 28 and 29. And I'll read that. Then I'll read verse 38 through 41. Then I'll go back and finish reading what I have in front of me. And we'll go into some more scriptures.
28 and 29. Okay, cool.
Genesis 27:27. And he came and kissed him, and he smelled of the smell. Now, the context of this is Jacob was about to be blessed by his father to receive the inheritance. Okay? Okay, and he said, the smell of my son is the smell of the field, which the Most High has blessed. Therefore, the Most High give thee the dew of heaven and of the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee. Now, who is this thee that he is referring to? The thee is the children that will eventually come out of Jacob, the 12 tribes, or these people on the screen in front of you. Okay? Let people serve you. So the whole earth was all nations were originally created to serve the Israelites. And nations bow to you. Be Lord over your brethren. And let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be any man that curse you, and be blessed be any man who blesses you. So now, people have taken this to apply it to Jewish people, which is reverse white supremacy. So we're taught in the church that if you speak evil against Jewish people, you're anti-Semitic. When there's no DNA, you can't show me a DNA that links them actually now this is Esau, verse 38:9. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling be of the fatness of the earth. So Esau's children would eventually, or the white races of the earth would eventually claim all the best places in earth. And by thy sword shalt thou live and serve thy brother, and when he shall have the dominion, he shall break the yoke off thy neck. So basically, that's what we're experiencing now. Esau's children are ruling the earth. Okay, that's why we have so much racism and unrest, because the people who were never meant to rule are ruling the earth instead of the true kings of the earth, the Israelites. Okay? So, back to
Cold air. You got the little one left too. You said if that
so
gets a little warm.
Sorry,
Josh.
As we have just shown you, see, society has taught us that black people are cursed because they are the sons of Ham or African. And as we clearly shown you, that the scholars know that write our history books know that they are lying when they write that. They know they are not the sons of Ham or genetically related to Africans. Okay? That's a lie. That is a lie. Okay? The children, the Negroes and people that were enslaved by Europeans are not African, nor are they American. Okay? Okay. Going back into this for a little bit, for a second.
Okay. Hey, Josh.
Hey, you want to read this?
Yeah, sure.
Dad is back.
All right. Daddy's back. All praises out there. All praises. Oh, praises.
Again, we're going into Hebrews to Negroes.
Yes. Like my son just said, I want to back what he just said because Daddy knows too that you are not cursed out there if your church is telling you that you're cursed from Ham. You are not from the family of Ham. And even Josh was the truth where it says, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham. You sojourn. Right. Yeah. That's it. Psalm 105. Yeah, tell him, Josh.
We'll read that in a second,
yeah,
too.
See, you sojourned there because when you left Israel, the Roman army was still after you. So you blended in with all the Africans, right?
Because you look
Egyptians,
like them.
right. So they didn't know who you were. Matter of fact, the Africans are the ones that ratted out the Hebrews and caught them and put them on the ships for the white people because white people couldn't catch them. That's how fast they were.
Right. Read.
Hold on. You got AC?
Food for thought.
Okay. Right here, Josh. All right. Food for thought. Common sense can explain everything.
Read.
If the Israelites constantly mixed their seed with the children of Ham for over a millennium, 1,000 years, then it would be impossible to distinguish a pure Israelite from a pure Canaanite. Thus, the outer physical appearance of the Hebrew Israelites would be as blacks today. Perhaps the reason why Cornelius Tacitus, first century historian, stated that many people believed the Hebrews were of Ethiopian black origins.
So, just like in Acts, I think it's Acts 20 or Acts 21, where Paul was called an Egyptian by a Roman. He said, "Are not thou that Egyptian?"
Come on. That's
meaning
right.
that he was being related to an Egyptian because they were black. The original, remember, the original Egyptians were not Arabic or
Go ahead, Josh. Tell me.
Arab looking. They were black. Okay?
All right. These theories can be tested by putting random black people from different countries, North America, Brazil, Kenya, Ethiopia, Cameroon, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Libya, Suriname, Josh, Suriname, French, Guyana, Antigua, Trinidad, Grenada, Cuba, Bahamas, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Eritrea, India and Atham Islands,
Mm-hmm.
Iraq, Southern Arabia, Indonesia, Australia, Yemen, etc. And being able to pick who is from where, it's not possible.
Read.
The European Jews, as Ashkenazi and Sephardic descendants of Japhet, have physical features that resemble the peoples in the Gentile lands of the north. Features black hair, dark eyes from the Turkish lands, and light features.
So the Europeans, now remember, the original Japhetic people, now Japheth is not the white man. Esau is the so-called white man. So, so what happened was when Esau would go into those lands, he would conquer them like he always does and rape the indigenous female population and start whiting out this landscape to make it look like him. Okay, read.
Okay. Have physical features that resemble the peoples in the Gentile lands of the north. These features range from dark features, black hair, dark eyes from the Turkish lands, and light features, brown, blonde, red hair, blue-green eyes from the Germanic, Celtic, Slavic, and Finnish lands. You will see this simply by visiting Israel and America. This is why the Ashkenazi Jews speak Yiddish, a Germanic, Slavic, Turkish form of modern Hebrew.
Of what?
Of modern Hebrew. Look at that.
And wait a minute, those are, last time I checked, the Most High didn't give his people a mixture tongue that's based on European languages. He gave them a pure language of Hebrew, which is the ancient Paleo Hebrew.
That's right. Okay. Jews speak Ladino, which is a mixture of medieval Castilian Spanish with modern Hebrew. Each language is not original Hebrew. It is adopted Hebrew, fused into their original language. Remember, just because one speaks and writes Hebrew, it does not make him a Hebrew Israelite. That's right. Anybody can learn to write and speak modern Hebrew. Wow. That's why all these Jews accept people in their synagogues today, right? And tell them they're Jewish. Wow, what a lie.
So, read that. Then I want to read something else, a little bit of something else. Then we'll go into some scriptures.
Heritage is anything that has been passed down from preceding generations of handed down by tradition or handed down by tradition. This includes a people's food, dress, religion, language, and alphabet.
So, for example, when the Bible talks about the Israelites losing their heritage, they lost their spirituality here, they lost their food, their diet, their dress code, their alphabet, their language. So slavery was much more than a physical beating down of a people. It was a spiritual reprogramming of a people.
That's right.
Read.
If one's heritage and culture is never lost, then the language should stay the same, even if in migration or immigration or different countries. The English, French, Arabic, and Spanish language have not changed despite their movement across the world by colonization. In a sense, In the same sense, the Hebrew language should not change if you move from one area to another. If the Ashkenazic Jews never lost their heritage, but simply left Israel and settled in Europe prior to 1948, then the Hebrew language should remain the same despite living with other races of people. It should not be a mixture of different languages. Wow, that's good. You see, if you don't study and do the research and get these books that explain your people, okay? And we don't just need books. We have the book itself, right, guys? We have the Bible, and it says it all in it.
Okay.
But history books do help, don't they, Josh? Because the Bible is a history book of a people and a race, right? So we're not reading another book to change what the Bible's saying. We're reading the Bible to read that book to see if that book can help us understand the Bible better.
So let's go now.
We go early, don't forget.
Let's go to the book
Leave it 8.
of Hosea. Now, and we're going to get a little understanding.
Hosea where, Josh? 8? 8, Josh? Okay.
7.
Oh, Hosea chapter 7. Oh, chapter 7.
So, now,
Scripture, we know, doesn't lie, especially when it's concerning the Hebrew Israelites and who they are.
So,
but history books prove it. What the Bible says.
Why do we have lighter skinned Israelites? Or if we look at the 12 tribes poster chart,
look at them today. How come they're light?
You have lighter skin, and when I say lighter skin, this is due to European conquest. The original inhabitants of America were not bleached brown. They were all dark black people, okay? So they would have all looked the same, okay? Hosea 7, verse 7.
7, verse 7. All right. Move over, Joshua. Okay. All right. I just want to be able to see. All right, 7, verse 7. Oh, here it is. All right, Hosea 7, verse 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. Ready? They are all not hot as an oven.
Stop. So the children of Israel are hot or black like an oven. Go to verse 8.
Okay. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself.
Stop.
Wow, among the people.
So Ephraim is the northern kingdom tribes. Ephraim, Manasseh, Asher, Simeon, Reuben, Zebulun, Gad, and Issachar. These people originally lived in the northern part of Israel, headquartered in Samaria. Okay. Now we know in Judges 7, 2 Kings 17, when Shalmaneser came into the land, and you can read this on your own. After he took out the Most High, split the kingdom between Jeroboam and Rehoboam, right? So then after that happened, the Gentiles came into northern Israel, and started, doing whatever they were, following other gods, pagan worship, and all that. And so basically, and we'll read that. We can go through that. So
that's
start
right.
verse 8
I like
again.
that again. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people.
So Ephraim have mixed himself mainly. He was mixed mainly over here by the Europeans when the Europeans came over here and raped them.
Come on. Ephraim is a cake not turned.
Ephraim is a what?
Cake not turned.
So in other words, some Ephraimites, let's see if I have a good example of this, or some of the northern kingdom, for example, the Seminole Indians here,
Reubenites.
the tribe of Reuben, some of them will look black.
That's right, Tony.
Then you'll
Reubenites.
have Issachar, the Mexicans, so-called Mexicans, who look almost Caucasian. Now, again, the reason that they put people like Jennifer Lopez, who is an Israelite, up in front of you is because she is more whiter or whitened. They don't show you the original, the original people who still are out of the picture.
Right, they were black.
They show you more of the people that came out of mixed
generations.
That's
right.
generations.
That's right.
So for example, all these people, the Gadites and all these different northern kingdom tribes would look like Judah or look like Levi. They would be all of black. So Ephraim has mixed himself with the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. So when you bake a cake, you don't bake both sides of the cake.
That's right.
One cake
is black.
One part of the cake that is cooked on the bottom turns brown, and the other part stays light.
That's it. That's it.
Jeremiah 14:2.
Jeremiah 14:2. Where's Mary tonight? Jeremiah 14:2, Josh.
14:2.
Okay, ready? Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black.
They are what?
They are black.
They are white.
They are black unto the ground.
So when it says they are black to the ground, what color is the ground, the soil of the ground and the soil inside the earth? It is brown. So the Israelites, the Judites, the children of Israel are black, is what Jeremiah is saying. Jeremiah 8 verse 20.
What is it?
8 and 20.
8 and 20. Hold on. Jeremiah 8:20. Okay. Okay, I got it.
21.
21, Josh?
8 and 21.
All right, ready? Jeremiah 8:21. For the hurt of the daughter of my people am I hurt. I am black.
I am white.
I am black.
I am European.
I am black.
No, it doesn't matter what I am.
I am black.
So Jeremiah is a black man.
Come on. Astonishment has taken hold on me. And that's not why he's black, it's of astonishment. Yeah. Or they'll twist the night away with Chubby Checker.
Now, let's explain something before.
Emma, you want to go out? Come on. Emma,
Get it, Tony. Get Emma.
Let's go to the book.
This way, Emma.
Emma.
Before we go to Song of Solomon.
Emma, come on.
Come on.
Go, Tony. Go.
No.
Okay, sorry, folks. We got to do it again.
Let's
All
go to
praises.
Lamentations 4,
Right into
verse
the
8.
book after right. 4:8, Josh.
4 and verse 8.
I got a little can left. He said you might need it, so come by tomorrow if it gets a little low again. All right. Lamentations 4, verse 8. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. I can't see. It is withered.
Now,
It's become like a stick. Wow.
I'll break that down in a second. Read verse 7. Now, we know the Nazarites are the children of Israel, right?
Come on.
So let's explain this. Read.
All right, verse 7. The Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies.
Now, see, people will go here and say, look, they're ruddy, they're white. No.
Now we'll show you what ruddy means and what it looks like.
So what does because you can't be black and white, okay, at the same time.
Come on.
So their vestures or their appearances were blacker than a coal. So what does it mean when it says they're the Nazarites who are Israelites were pure than snow and whiter than milk, and they were ruddy. So what does ruddy mean? Ruddy means reddish brown. So Adam was ruddy in a sense because he was reddish brown. Or what black people refer to as red boned.
Mm-hmm.
So these people are red boned because they're ruddy. Ruddy does not mean white. Ruddy means a whiter version, a lighter shade of brown. Okay? Let's go to the book of the Song of Solomon, chapter 5.
Psalms?
Song of Solomon.
Solomon, sorry, Josh. That's after Psalms, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Chapter 5? Yeah, this is a good one. I like this one. Hold on. That's after, right after Psalms, right?
And when you get there, I want
that's Proverbs. Wait.
Song of Solomon 5, verse.
Where is it? It's after Proverbs? I forgot where it is. We haven't read it in so long. That's Ecclesiastes.
It's after Ecclesiastes.
It's after Ecclesiastes? Right, okay. I got it.
Song of Solomon 5, 11, 10 and 11.
We haven't read this in a while.
Let's break it down.
All right. Song of Solomon 5, 11, Josh?
Uh-huh.
Okay, here we go.
10.
10, okay. My beloved is white and ruddy, the chiefest among 10,000.
Stop. So Solomon is calling himself white and ruddy. Okay, so ruddy meaning reddish brown.
Watch this. His head is as the most fine gold. His locks are bushy and black as a raven.
So
that's what David looked like.
So Solomon had dreadlocks. White people do not have dreadlocks.
Show me pictures. How many pictures for Solomon?
Okay, his head was the most fine. So his hair looked was so healthy it glowed. It glistened. His dreadlocks. And how do we know that ruddy means black, reddish brown? Song of Solomon, chapter 1:5.
Song of Solomon 1:5. I am black.
I am what?
I am black.
So, in other words, see, the Bible interprets itself. The Bible just said that Solomon was white and ruddy. So then it says that Solomon is black. So how can you be ruddy and white and black at the same time? Because ruddy doesn't mean white. Ruddy means black, reddish brown, or black red, like mahogany. If you've ever had mahogany wood in your house, that's what color Solomon was.
That's what Solomon looked like. Before we close, Joshua is going to show you a picture of Solomon. And these are icons. These are real pictures.
Song of Solomon.
I am black, but commonly, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon.
Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun has looked upon me. Why? Because he's reddish brown.
Come on.
That means the sun can make him blacker.
That's right. See, now Christians twist that and say, see, Solomon was black because of the sun. No, he didn't say that.
He could get darker.
He got darker.
By the sun.
Right, right. Now, I know Afro-Americans, if they stay in the sun, they get darker.
Uh-huh. White people burn if they stay in the sun.
That's right.
They become redder. They don't become blacker. Before we so we showed you Solomon, we showed you, let's show you Moses.
Where do you want to go, Josh?
Exodus chapter 5. No, Exodus 4, 6, and 7.
All right. Exodus 4, 6, and 7. Okay, Exodus 4. The book of Exodus 4, 6, and 7.
Read.
Hold on. I got to find it. Wait, 4, 6. And the Most High said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
So God, and I'm going to show you this again. Leprous as snow. So Moses, the Most High struck Moses' hand white. Now, for this to be a miracle, the rest of Moses' body could not be the same color as his hand. Right? Because it was a miracle. Right?
That's right.
So God didn't whiten a white person's hand. He whitened. Read the next verse.
Come on. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again.
It was what?
It was turned again as his
other flesh.
Other flesh. So it came out white the first time because of the miracle of the proof he had to show us something. All right. And then we put it back out. His hand We matched. his
Now, is
black
this the
skin.
only example? Let's go to Numbers 11, and we'll show you another example. I think it's, wait. Read.
11 where? From the top, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay. And when the people complained, it displeased the Most High, and the Most High heard it. And his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Most High burnt among them, and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. And the people cried unto Moses, and when Moses prayed unto the Most High, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of the place Barak, because the fire of the Most High burnt among them.
Go to, no, I meant chapter 12. Sorry, everybody.
That's okay. 12 more times.
12 and at the top.
All right, 12. All right, Numbers 12. And Miriam, remember this is about Moses, right? And his color. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, hath the Most High indeed spoken unto by Moses? Hath he not spoken also by us? And the Most High heard it. Now the man, Moses, was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth, the flat earth, Josh. And the Most High spake suddenly unto Moses and Aaron, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam, come out ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they came, and the three came out, and the Most High came down in the pillar of the cloud, and stood in the door of the tabernacle, and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Most High, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Most High shall he behold. Wherefore, then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? And the anger of the Most High was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle. And behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow.
She what?
She became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my Most High, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin against us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he cometh out of his mother's womb.
That's speaking about Esau.
Wow.
So that's another biblical example of Esau of leprosy, the whitening of a black person's skin.
Oh, come on.
Stop.
Wow.
Let's go to Ezekiel 1, 5 through 7.
We're close.
In a second.
Ezekiel 1, Josh, 5 and 7?
5 through 7.
5 through 7. Ezekiel 5 through 7.
1. Ezekiel chapter 1, 5 through 7.
Right, we got ready? 5. Ezekiel 1, 5 through 7. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures.
Now these are the angels in the heaven. Read.
And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass.
So these men were shiny.
They were brown.
And their skin glistened.
Wow.
It was brown. So the angels are black.
Come on.
Color. Let's see if this continues.
No, that don't matter.
Acts chapter 13 and 1.
It don't matter. Just read the Bible like a dictionary. It don't matter. Nothing matters. I'm Christian. Acts what?
13:1. Now I'm gonna close. We're gonna close in the Apocrypha tonight.
All right, Acts 13:1.
Acts 13:1.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called
Niger.
That was called Niger, but they say nigger today. And Lachius of Cyrene, and Manasseh, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch, and Saul.
So we look up that word Niger, we get of Latin origin, black Christian. So the apostles and everyone that originally heard the truth were Negroes, were black. Okay? Let's close in. Now, how did we get this image or this idea of white people? Let's go 2 places. Let's go to the book of Maccabees, First Maccabees 3:48. And we'll close in
First Maccabees, Josh. 3:48. What chapter?
3:48.
3 verse 48. Okay. First Maccabees chapter 3 verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So the heathen had always the agenda of trying to set themselves up as gods over the children of Israel by painting their images in a religious setting. Now let's show you this. Again, we're going to close now. Now, make sure you get this, because this is a major point here. This is going to help explain all of the trouble we see. Some of it. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon 14.
Wisdom of Solomon.
14 verse 8.
Oh, in the Apocrypha.
You gotta break it down.
In the Apocrypha, right, Josh?
Right?
In the Apocrypha.
Yeah.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18.
Is that after Ezra or before? That's after Ezra, right, Tom?
Yeah.
Now, the Apocrypha was removed for many reasons.
What was the chapter, Josh? 8 what?
8.
8:4. 8:4.
One of the major
14.
reasons is
14.
it goes into the replacement of the image of the true Messiah
That's
by
right.
the Romans.
Tell it again.
Okay?
Say it again. Because nothing matters. Say it again. I hope it matters tonight.
So we're going to break it down. Wisdom of Solomon 14, verse 8, read.
But that which is made with hands is cursed.
So all these images we see in movies, religious artwork, calendars, children's Bibles,
They're all
are
cursed
cursed
people.
images.
That's right. As well it, as he that made it, he, because he made it, and it, because being corruptible, it was called God.
Now, we know, stop. Hold on, everybody.
Go ahead.
We know that, lost my place. It was called God, okay. We know for a fact that the pagans always set up images to worship as God. Right? But this was more centralized. All right? So if we were to ask somebody, what image do you get when you think of God? People will say, well, Jesus, you know, a European picture will come to your mind. Why? Because during the Renaissance, the Romans put themselves up as God, just like we read in 1 Maccabees 3:48. Read.
Okay. For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike, hateful unto the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation.
So the Gentiles or the non-Israelites were always under the influence of paganism. Why? Because they were not given a law to restrict them from worshiping anything they wanted to worship. That's how the children of Israel were made separated. The Most High gave them laws through the prophet Moses to separate them from everyone. Read.
Therefore, even upon the idol of the Gentiles there shall be a visitation, because in the creature of Ahayah they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise.
So this one image stumbles people and causes people to be unwise. Why? Because this image was purposely set up to lie. We all know what image we're referring to, the white image of Jesus Christ, or what you know as Jesus. That was set up to make people unwise and stumble people. Why? Because you can't read in the Bible of a man who died for your sins who looked like a European. That's not in the Bible. Okay? Verse 12.
Right, verse 12. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vainglory of the men, glory of men, they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image of his child.
So now this is going into the history of how this came to place. During the Renaissance, the Roman Catholic Church was looking to conquer the earth under white supremacy and religion. But they could not do this successfully because there were parts of the earth who wouldn't accept their religion. So they had to create an image that of one of them as God, so they could establish themselves as supreme over the earth. Read.
When he had made an image of his child, soon taken away, now honored him as a God.
Read.
Which was then a dead man.
Read.
And delivered to them that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, the Roman Catholic Church, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings, whom men could not honor in presence because they dwelt far off.
So stop. What customs came in with this idol? What customs?
Where'd you get this one from? Say?
No. What customs became with these idols? Christmas, Easter, all these, because that's what the Roman Catholic Church started teaching. So why couldn't they could not honor Cesar Borgia because he died, okay? So they had to copy or make a counterfeit of his image to take it all over the earth. That's why we see white Jesus in Africa.
That's right.
In Asia, where
in America,
right?
In your churches, that you worship this white Jesus.
Also, the singular diligence of the artificer or the artists of the Renaissance did set the foolish, the ignorant,
superstition
to more superstition.
That's right.
For he peradventure willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the best fashion.
I got you. Right, hold on.
Verse 21.
Ready? And this was an occasion to deceive the world.
So stop. This whole imagery or idolatry was set up, everybody, to deceive the earth.
And they did a good job, didn't they? Look how many people they sent to hell and they deceived them.
So we understand this. So how does this all fold into our? See, now this is where it kind of gets hard, because when you're conditioned to think something does not relate to something, it's hard to make you believe it relates to something. Like when you're taught it doesn't matter what Christ looked like,
because you were told that you were formed in your mind to believe that. You heard it year after year, week after week, day after day. So it formed an image of a lie in your spirit. That's why people have such a hard time believing this. That's why they say it doesn't matter, but it does matter. But if you do the research and read the Bible right,
so
you'll find what we found.
And being taught philosophy like that really makes you not really want to look into certain things, because if you're convinced that something doesn't matter or doesn't relate to something, you won't have the desire to really look into it or know
the
about
truth.
It.
That's right. Didn't Christ say you'll know the truth, Josh? It will set you free.
Absolutely. So that's very clear. All the characters of the Bible were black people. We did not get an image or an idea of a European person being a main character in the Bible until the 1400s. And what was going on during that? And slavery was starting to, Europeans were starting to retake Europe from the children of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as we got towards the translation of the King James Bible. That's when Esau started really taking the earth back and had his whole system set up. Europeans have only ruled the earth now for about 400 to 500 years. Okay? Europe was ruled for about 1,000 or more years by black people, by the children of Israel.
That's right.
That's why if you look through go on the internet and look up black nobility in Europe, you'll find out that all the original kings of Europe before the Europeans came along were black. That's why they call that term, that time of European history, the Dark Ages, because they didn't want to give credence to the fact that black people, mainly the Israelites, ruled over them. Okay? They don't want to admit in their racist, supremacist mind that people they have now serving them ruled them. Right?
Now, the pastors that you're under have been deceived too. They've been lied to and deceived, so they have to teach what they believe, what was truth. And that's why so many Christians say, well, my pastor's anointed. I have a pastor. Well, your pastor obviously has not done research.
So, hopefully that was a very enlightening lesson. And shalom.
Shalom.